What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. That is Scott Savage. Make sure to join us over at InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, thanks to our friends over at Fired Up Network, YouTube at Inside the Game Official. While you're there, make sure to check out my review today. Just went live. Operation Wolf returns, First Mission VR, and of course, those TV streaming networks around the globe. Jinx Esports TV, Roku, Amazon Prime, Samsung Plus, ESTV, and the list goes on. But we've got a hot episode today. Scott, what do we have?
That's right, we have a little bit more information as an actor has spilt the beans on TREYARCH's new Call of Duty game. Microsoft Activision deal is still not done. It'll never be done. Atlas Fallen Behind the Sands gameplay presentation struck our fancy. And more information, perhaps, on Assassin's Creed codenamed Red.
Ooh, looks like a good show. Let's dive in.
We have a pretty hot topic here as number one. An actor has claimed that he will play Ratcliffe in TREYARCH's next Call of Duty game. This comes from Tom Henderson at Insider Gamer and, well, from the leaker himself a little bit, but we'll get into that. Actor Luke Charles Stafford has claimed on Facebook that he will be playing the role of Ratcliffe in next year's Call of Duty title by TREYARCH Games. The actor's post was sent to Insider Gaming, which shows Stafford in various images and videos in what appears to be a Call of Duty mocap studio. On Facebook, Stafford says, quote, Activision decided to adapt their next main character, Ratcliffe, for Call of Duty off of my face/likeness, and I am elated. To all of my college roommates back at Anderson University and those years in Smith Hall playing Black Ops 2, next year we can beat each other again, but I want to play as me. P.S. I think I'll continue with the hairnet in public from now on. I'm not sure about the hairnet being a good look, but how exciting would it be to be the next star in a Call of Duty game? That is unreal.
That's very cool. I think he got a little too excited, though, because I guarantee you he broke some sort of NDA by doing this. Like this, we start to see a lot of this from voice actors. They're just so excited to be a part of something so cool, so unique, and they just kind of blurted out a little too early. Scott, this is next year's title. Don't forget, we're getting a new Call of Duty this year. So we're already getting leaks going into next year's game. That's not supposed to be leaked yet. I guarantee it. He broke some sort of NDA here. I wonder what ramifications, if any, is going to happen, or just a slap on the wrist go, hey, you kind of goofed up here. What was cool, though, is Black Ops, man. We're back into the Black Ops franchise, which I adore.
A little bit more of a taking risks a little too far. In these videos, Stafford mentions Call of Duty several times and even prompts several of the Call of Duty team to say hi. In one video, you could even see one of the team members wearing a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 t-shirt, which is the latest installment, of course.
Yep.
That is most certainly an NDA, but I want to mention there's detail here. Ratcliffe could be a character based on the real-life British Army soldier Peter Ratcliffe. He served in the Parachute Regiment and the SAS for a career of almost 30 years, during which he was awarded the Distinguished Conduct Medal for gallantry in action during the Gulf War. TREYARCH's next game, codenamed Cerberus, is scheduled to release in 2024 and will be the next installment of the Black Ops series. If this is indeed the inspiration to fill this character out, it sounds like quite an incredible storied career. 30 years in the military for Peter Ratcliffe and Distinguished Conduct Medal for gallantry in action. That is lends to a very Call of Duty campaign, if it's done tastefully, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we loved the last one they did with Cold War. It was, man, it's so cool. It's kind of my go-to when it comes to Call of Duty. We're always so heavily invested when it comes into jumping into the story, and then the multiplayer, which is funny. This is the first time, I think, in Call of Duty history for me personally that I stuck around so long with the multiplayer, just because it's so quick and so fast-paced that I'm normally out relatively soon. But I was actually able to stick around and have a good time. A lot of new modes in here too. DMZ was something else, and the raid actually involved. So there's some other opportunities to get more and more people in, and I appreciate that Activision Blizzard's looking at doing that. And again, we talk about often on the show Assassin's Creed fatigue, and in this case Call of Duty fatigue, but it doesn't seem to be hitting here at all, Scott. Last year's titles, $800 million in 3 days, and then $1 billion in 10, says anything but fatigue at all.
Yeah, absolutely. They're selling, and we will keep eating.
It seems to be the way, right? And we're getting a new game this year. It was supposed to be a bit of a smaller take on a game, a bit of a more of like a DLC pack, but it sounds like that's branched off, kind of how Basm has with Assassin's Creed Mirage, and gone off. Supposed to be DLC for Valhalla. Well, then it's expanded now into full-fledged in its own title. Well, it sounds like we're getting that here in this case with Call of Duty. We should be seeing something soon, don't you think, with Call of Duty? With what we're playing, this November, which seems to be kind of the staple launch.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen either of these Call of Duties really teased off too much. I'm wondering, where's Black Ops going to take us in this series? Is it including the Gulf War? Is it going to be Gulf War in the future, past? Are we doing time skipping? Black Ops is just a crazy series for Call of Duty, and I love it.
Yeah, I love the spy espionage feel of it from last game, and I hope they kind of carry that over here with the next one. But yeah, definitely more Call of Duty, something that just seems to never end. Scott, speaking of something that will never end, this Microsoft Activision deal could face new merge investigation, but the UK warns. Oh man, Tom Warren over at The Verge. The UK Competition and Markets Authority, also known as CMA, is throwing caution over the idea of a quick resolution to concerns around Microsoft's proposed Activision Blizzard acquisition. Microsoft and UK regulators are extremely quick to issue statements over their intention to pause their Activision battle to negotiate after Microsoft won a key FTC legal fight just yesterday. Dude, it just never ends. Like, we're so close to just jumping over the cliff, and we just gotta get caught back by a net. It's like Spider-Man just goes whoosh, nails us with his web, and then yanks us back up, Scott. But now the UK regulator says Microsoft's proposals may, quote, lead to a new merger investigation, end quote. Come on, can we just move on, please? In a statement to The Verge, supplied by CMA media officer Billy Proudlock, the regulator warns that the discussions with Microsoft are at an early stage. Whilst merging parties don't have the opportunity to put forward new remedies once a final report has been issued, they can choose to restructure a deal, which can lead to a new merger investigation. Microsoft and Activision have indicated that they are considering how the transaction might be modified, and the CMA is prepared to engage with them on this basis. Of course they are. This discussions remain at an early stage, and the nature of the timing of next steps will be determined in due course. While both parties have requested a pause in Microsoft's appeal to allow this discussion to take place, the CMA decision set out in its final report still stands. This just... Scott, we're so close. Like I thought we're starting to get there, right? We're starting to get over the hump and be able to move on. And I just there's a lot of us I think are just ready to get this finished off.
Yeah, I really hope Microsoft can make some concessions with the CMA and just kind of resolve the minor issues. But
Yeah.
I've seen some plans being put forth. Does that mean that the UK doesn't get certain other features that the rest of us do around the planet? And that's not good for consumers. So it's such a mess now. This also joins the situation where the FTC is still moving to appeal the decision made yesterday. And although I'm not quite certain how that works, there's a legal examination that will happen with the thought process that went into that decision. And I don't see that changing too much, but we cannot seem to make headway moving forward. It just keeps getting held up constantly.
Well, yeah, I think we're going to be here for quite some time still. Yesterday was a step forward, but every time they seem to make a step forward, there's like 2, 3, 5 steps backwards, kind of feels like, right? So I know slowly we're getting there, but now that the FTC, after yesterday's agreement more or less went through, where does PlayStation lie, right? Like, that's the question. They offered Xbox, offered PlayStation a deal for Call of Duty for 10 years. Jim Ryan said no. Right? He's no, I don't want that. Okay, well, now what then? Do we need to kind of keep going forward with that deal? Right now, actually, on PlayStation Plus, I believe there's a Call of Duty game right there for everybody to play, right? So there's deals coming up, but what does that look like for the future now that Xbox or Microsoft is about to acquire Activision Blizzard? In 10 years, they've offered this deal to go everywhere, every cloud gaming service around the world, right? We've talked about other cloud services we've never even heard about. Well, now we're getting into this. Dude, 10 years, day one, Call of Duty then goes exclusive, right? Like, there's the opportunity here, and that warrants Jim Ryan's kind of concern of where the future lies. Phil Spencer's like, that doesn't make any sense to us because it does make so much money, $800 million in 3 days. Why would you put that on one console? Because it pulls more people to one console, Scott. Right?
That's true. There is a give and take though, because you're losing out on that. Maybe you're losing out on those massive numbers. If not everybody joins your program, but
Yeah.
it does seem like it will pull a lot of people over. And Sony thinks the same way when they picked up Bungie.
Exactly.
This is how it works. But there is question for the future now because of this giant acquisition. If it goes through, do you think that will open the floodgates to a lot of acquisitions, or do you think the massive amount of scrutiny is gonna keep everybody's head down for a while?
I think the day the deal goes through for Activision Blizzard, Microsoft goes quiet. PlayStation goes, hey, we just bought this studio, and this studio. I think you see the ramifications over on PlayStation come out going, yeah, you gobbled up one of the biggest industry leaders right now, but we also picked up these other studios here to help build our franchises moving forward. Right now, PlayStation's crushing it, right? Look at God of War. Look at Horizon. Spider-Man's coming out. Wolverine's coming out. There's so many. Ghost of Tsushima, right? They have so many single-player focused games. What they don't have is that competitive multiplayer like they do with Call of Duty going over to Microsoft, right? That's the side of it. How do you keep people invested day in, day out? Dude, I beat God of War, moved on. I beat Horizon, moved on. If you're playing Call of Duty, you're still playing Call of Duty, right? Like Corey still dabbles, go back in. Right now, he's heavily invested on Diablo 4, which granted, I understand a lot of people are, but at the same time, his shooter is Call of Duty, right? It's like he's gonna go back to that. Right now, I probably won't go back to God of War. I won't go back to Horizon. I finished those stories. I loved those stories and I had a blast. Unless I'm looking for that platinum, I'm not gonna go back. But this is when you pull in people like Bungie, right? Or Haven Studios with fair games, and they're starting to build this live service model. Bungie's working on Marathon. Bungie has Destiny, right? Destiny 2. Will we see a Destiny 3? Well, that's probably pretty reassuring. I think we will at some point. Yeah, very likely, right? But it's one of those things. Will Destiny 3 be an exclusive to PlayStation, Scott?
Oh, I think it would be. In this case, especially if it starts this kind of tit for tat back and forth, then it certainly would be locked up, and that is their prerogative.
Well, that does bring in the opportunity, right? And there's a reason why Bethesda for $7 billion was purchased. And where do you get Starfield? Xbox, and Xbox only. So will we see Call of Duty go exclusive? I don't know, because they do want to put it on so many other platforms. It brings in a ton of money. Why would you want to sanction that off? Well, you sanction it off to build your own library of gamers, right? You want to build your repertoire of people to, hey, you want Call of Duty? You can only get it here. Problem is, not everybody can afford a PlayStation and an Xbox, right? You got to keep that in the back of your mind too. So you want to be able to cater to the wider audience. When you make $1 billion in 10 days, do you really want to cut that off?
Yeah, really. Well, they're going to move it into Nintendo. Maybe by then, Nintendo will be the stronger of the three to carry the online. I'm waiting for their online update.
Absolutely not going to happen. But Nintendo is going to launch the next console and it still be outdated by 2 years. So it's one of those things, right? Like, I think Nintendo is in a place, and an interesting place, because they always innovate, but yet they're never kind of caught up to where the current standard is in the industry, right?
Quite paradoxical, but I agree with you though.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this deal is far from being finished. Scott, we received a new trailer this morning on Atlas Fallen and Going Behind the Sand gameplay presentation. It's about a 7.5 minute presentation. And dude, the more I see on this game, the more I want to play. This is coming out on August 10th. We just kind of want to put it on everybody's radar if you haven't seen it. This has drop in, drop out co-op, which is fantastic. It has over-the-top kind of combat going on, fast-paced, sand gliding. Dude, the minute I saw that first trailer, I was like, yo, what is this? And then they said, oh, it's got co-op. I'm like, yes, I'm so in. And an RPG element. They have so much going for this game. This is Deck 13 as well, which has been around for a very long time, and is developed or published by Focus Home Entertainment. So there's a lot here. I like where Focus always kind of takes their games. And then Deck 13 coming in, man, a well-renowned studio, giving us something that looks fresh. I think that's the other side of it too. This looks really, really cool, with a focus on combat and exploration. And please, with this exploration, there should be a photo mode involved. And dude, I cannot wait to jump into this world. The story, everything about this thing looks really, really cool. What are your expectations right now?
Oh, they're very, very high. It looks like this is going to be a combination of several things that I appreciate. The kind of Monster Hunter in the combat, the big hammers swinging around. That's something that excites me. And the exploration looks amazing. This world looks beautiful, I should say.
No,
But
absolutely.
I didn't realize this was the same team that brought us the Surge. And I've not played 2, but the Surge 1 was one of my favorite games at the time. And being a kind of Dark Souls offshoot with different mechanics and different kind of inventory system, but I think that'll lend itself really well to this situation. And I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to this one.
No, absolutely. They've been able to, looks like they've taken what they've known in the past and merged a bunch of these titles together and then brought us Atlas Fallen. I'm like, yo, this looks really, really cool. I can't wait to dive in. Just kind of want to put it on everybody's radar. Make sure you check it out. Scott, we're big fans of Assassin's Creed over here, and there's a lot more on the way. Like, so much more. Apparently, like 11, there's got to be 11 titles in development being worked on. Oh, man, there's a lot to talk about. But what we're going to be talking about next year, it appears to be Assassin's Creed Codename Red could be targeting a 2024 release. This is Tom Ivan over at VGC. In a LinkedIn post earlier this year, Ubisoft business development and brand partnership executive Arisa Langanzad said the company was looking for a Japanese partner to work on, quote, the biggest blockbuster of 2024, end quote. Scott, those are some bold words, man. We will see about that one. But since the post was spotted today by Access the Animus, which is a wicked name, I appreciate that. If you're an Assassin's Creed fan,
That is a good one.
yeah, you know it, right? Yeah, it has seemingly been edited to remove mention of 2024, but the LinkedIn's translation of the original Japanese text still reads, quote, we are seeking sponsoring partner for this title, Assassin's Creed Codename Red, for next year, end quote. Translation on the original text in Google Translate and online translation tool DeepL also both appear to confirm that the action RPG will be released in 2024. This lines up with a February report from Insider Gaming, which claimed that the codename Red is scheduled for release next year. Its sources claim that the game was in good shape and that it would feature 2 playable characters and have a strong focus on stealth. Scott, keeping with the stealth, right? We're going back to our roots with Assassin's Creed Mirage, and here we are going into next year's title, still heavily focused with more stealth gameplay. This is something that fans have been wanting more and more of, right? If you're a fan of the original, going back to Altair, Ezio with Assassin's Creed 2, I call it 3 and 4, but it's not really. It's 2, Brotherhood, and then Revelations, and then you get into 3. It's a bit of a up and down timeline, but either way, getting back to the original roots of Assassin's Creed, the stealth gameplay was really kind of where the shining moments were for me personally. And then as we progressed along, we got into Origins, which still had elements. Odyssey a little bit. Valhalla, that's up in the air, right? There's moments that you can, and then you blow your horn with the Viking time period, and that kind of sets everything awry. But either way, more and more coming around for Assassin's Creed. How excited are you for Red?
Oh, I cannot wait. This is finally the setting, the Asian inspired setting that I really want to play in, and I'm super excited. But it comes down to 2 characters. There is precedent here, and there's 2 kinds of precedent. Assassin's Creed Syndicate had 2 characters, brother and sister, that you could swap between, and that was all it really did. There was Unity that had the multiplayer side to it, but we kind of had a little bit of trouble getting Unity to work properly, and I had missed it the first when it was big, so I wasn't able to play that. But I'm wondering, is this a new mechanic perhaps? This is my idea that I have going on, because there's a little bit of the supernatural in this game. Maybe the second character is taking commands. Maybe that gives you the option to set up different attacks or have a distraction go off or something like that. My mind is racing because I cannot wait to get back into this old school Assassin's Creed feel. Mirage is close, but Red is very close as well.
Absolutely. It was said that the next 2 flagship games after this year's Assassin's Creed Mirage, which we are very hyped for, are coming out on, I believe it's October 12th. Codename Red and Hexy would be released as part of the new Infinity Franchise Hub, the live service initiative announced in 2021. So 2 years ago, we heard about this, and then God completely quiet on what this hub looks like, what this is going to be, and we haven't really heard much more on it, right? After Mirage was supposed to be Valhalla DLC, but Basm's story became something much more and much bigger, which then turned into its own actual game, which has me excited to see. But there's a lot of DLC with Valhalla, and it wasn't for everybody, right? It even had a roguelite mode in it, which I thought was pretty cool. I had a good time playing that one. I had a lot of fun. But there's other elements of it. I was just like, nah, that was not for me. But it kept that game alive for 2 years. But here we are. Dude, it's been a while. I'm now excited to see what Mirage looks like when we get in there. And then Red is something that fans have been asking for so long in the Assassin's Creed franchise that I can't believe it's taken them this long. But,
oh, absolutely.
But Red, which is made by the Odyssey developer, Ubisoft Quebec, has the same creative director. Will begin with Ubisoft as calling it, quote, period 3, end quote, in the Assassin's Creed series, which has sold over 200 million copies since launch in 2007, Scott. Dude, I've been there from day one, playing Assassin's Creed. I can't believe it's been this long. Honestly.
Yeah, really.
It just keeps going. But they're far from done,
2007, I fell in love with that world. I think I was 15 years old playing the first game, and I never thought the series was going to go this long. Of course, they've been very successful, so why would I have doubts? But
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to period 3.
Scott, just like there's no shortage of Assassin's Creed, well, there's no shortage on games. There's a lot out today. What do we have?
Today is a busy day, so hold with me now. We have Gravity Circuit, and that is on the PlayStation 4, 5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Operation Wolf Returns, First Mission VR, that is on the Oculus Quest 2, Pico 4, PSVR 2, therefore PlayStation 4 and 5, PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, X and S, almost everywhere. Actually, that might be just everywhere. There's also Manic Mechanics on the Nintendo Switch, Touhou New World, and that's on PC, Nintendo Switch, and will soon be coming to PlayStation 4 and 5. Dead Man's Diary makes its way to the Xbox Series X and S now. Edo Zombie Uprising comes to PC, PS5, Xbox X and S. Atelier Marie Remake, The Alchemist of Salzburg, comes to PlayStation 4, 5, and Nintendo Switch. Dysynchronia Chronos Alternate Episode 3 is on PlayStation 5, PSVR 2, PC, Quest 2, and the Nintendo Switch. And Naraka Blade Point makes its way to PlayStation 5 now.
Very cool. Don't forget to check out my review of Operation Wolf Returns on the PSVR 2. That just dropped today. Now, being a game on rails, or at least a gun game of some sort, how does a weapon feel? Well, at moments, it felt great. Switching from my assault rifle back to my Uzi to this shotgun, which seemed to shoot for miles. It was pretty powerful. Then get mixed up with a grenade, which is a little weird because you don't throw the grenade, which is a bit of a miss, honestly. But it would have been nice to have tossed my grenade to make that nice little kill. But instead, you hold down the R1 button on your PSVR 2 controller and aim it and let go. And that's it. You kind of hope for the best, make sure it gets there, but there's no opportunity to. That'll wrap up today's episode, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Drew. That's Scott.
And we'll see you inside the game.